For 10,000 cycles, the Galactic Union believed peace had been mastered. They had mapped the void between galaxies, subdued empires that rose and fell, and recorded every known species of sentient life. In their archives, they wrote that evolution had ended with them. Yet in the hidden corners of the cosmos, old voices whispered otherwise. The elders of the learned system were the oldest race still breathing under twin suns. Their memories stretched far before the Union even learned flight. They lived in silence and warning. When the Union ambassadors once came to them seeking guidance, the elders spoke with trembling tones. They said there would come a species from the dust of a blue world who would break the known laws of power and conflict. They said no weapon, no shield, no alliance could hold against them. They said they would come not as conquerors, but as a storm born of necessity. The Union laughed. For ages, no such race appeared. Civilizations rose, fell, and rebuilt in cycles. The elders' words faded into myth. Many believed they were simply stories from an age when the learned minds had begun to decay. Only the archivists kept the tale alive, preserving fragments in deep records marked as superstition. Then, 2,000 cycles later, a signal arrived from the edge of mapped space. It was weak at first, repeating in a simple binary pattern, but its precision defied randomness. Automated probes traced its origin to a planet orbiting a yellow star on the spiral's arm. The Union dispatched a survey team. They expected to find another primitive culture. Instead, they found a species that had reached space before the Union even knew they existed. They called themselves humans. At first, contact was polite but cautious. Humanity seemed eager to learn, to trade, to share. They absorbed technologies within decades that had taken other races millennia to develop. Their minds adapted too quickly. Their curiosity burned brighter than radiation itself. Union scholars watched with mixed awe and fear. Soon, human fleets began to roam far beyond their home system, not as conquerors but as explorers, builders, and defenders. Yet everywhere they went, the pattern of their progress was the same. They learned, adapted, and exceeded. What they saw, they improved. What they touched, they transformed. When they were admitted to the Union, there was celebration. The council chambers were filled with speeches praising unity and peace. But deep within the restricted archives, the elder records glowed faintly, warning once again, when the ones from the blue world stand among you, the age of balance will end. No one believed it. The first test came 2 centuries later. From the void beyond the Perseid Gap came a swarm known only as the Var Dominion. They were not a civilization but a devouring force, an ancient hive that consumed star systems whole. The Union gathered fleets of hundreds of worlds, forming the largest military coalition in recorded time. For the first time since the founding, they asked the humans to join. Humanity sent a single fleet. Their ships were not elegant like those of the Union. They were angular, forged from alloys unknown to others. Their hulls built not for beauty but for endurance. The commanders of other worlds mocked their crude design. They said no ship could stand against the swarm without graviton shielding or plasma bending. The human commander only smiled. When the battle began, the Dominion poured across space like a flood. Union vessels broke ranks within hours. The swarm's living projectiles pierced shields, melted hulls, and tore through command lines. The human fleet did not retreat. The advanced Union observers could not comprehend it. Human ships took blows that would have annihilated any other craft, yet they held formation. Their weapons burned with kinetic fury rather than plasma or light, relying on velocity, not energy manipulation. When their ammunition ran dry, they rammed their own ships into the enemy. It was chaos turned to art, destruction turned to resolve. When the swarm realized the humans would not yield, it tried to overwhelm them. But humanity adapted mid-battle, recalibrating every strike, finding patterns in what others called randomness. Within a day, the swarm began to fracture. Within 3, it was gone. The Union stood in stunned silence. The humans lost 2/3 of their fleet, but the rest returned home. No other species could have survived even an hour. In the following decades, humanity's legend grew. They rebuilt faster than any world had seen. They colonized worlds others called uninhabitable, bending the laws of biology to survive in storms, ice or fire. Their soldiers trained not for power but endurance. Their scientists learned not from comfort but failure. Every scar became a lesson, every loss a new beginning. Yet the elders' warning did not fade. It grew louder in whispers. When asked by young scholars, the last elder still alive answered simply, It is not that they destroy, but that they cannot be stopped when they must endure. The Union again ignored it. Then came the War of 10 Empires. The conflict began not by human hands, but by envy. Other worlds feared Earth's growing influence. They saw the humans' expansion as a threat to balance. Trade routes were cut, treaties were broken, embassies attacked. Humanity called for peace again and again, offering mediation. The Union Council dismissed them, believing that a coalition of 10 major powers could subdue a single rising race if war came. War came. The 10 empires struck first, targeting human colonies on the outer rim. They expected surrender. They found fury. Humanity did not fight for territory or pride. They fought for survival. Their worlds burned, yet their response was precise, relentless, and cold. Their fleets emerged from slipspace not as scattered defenders but as coordinated storms. They struck where their enemies were weakest, vanished, then struck again. One by one, the empires fell. The Union tried to intervene, but by then the tide had turned. The humans had unleashed something the stars had never seen, a unity forged by shared pain. When the war ended, the 10 empires were gone. The Union stood silent. Earth sent no demand, no tribute request. They simply rebuilt. And when the Council asked what drove them, the human envoy said quietly, "We did not seek to rule. We sought to survive what others thought would end us." The Elder's final prophecy echoed through the archives. They will not seek dominion. They will only seek to endure. And in their endurance, nothing shall withstand them. Centuries passed. Humanity did not conquer worlds. They guided them. They taught how to rebuild faster, how to recover from collapse, how to stand when all else failed. Planets that had once mocked them now sought their guidance. In time, even the Elder's homeworld faded into dust, leaving only ruins and records of the ancient warning that began it all. Still, the stars watched with quiet unease. For every time a new threat arose, a cosmic plague, a collapsing star, a rogue artificial intelligence, it was the humans who endured while others faltered. Some whispered that the humans had no limits because they accepted pain as a companion, not an enemy. Others said they were driven by something even the universe could not comprehend, the will to rise again and again. When the next great test came, it was not war, but silence. The universe itself began to die. Across the galaxy, stars dimmed faster than predicted. Energy vanished. Systems fell dark. The Union's finest minds gathered, desperate to find a cause. They discovered that a vast void was expanding, a cosmic wound devouring light itself. It was not an enemy, but a law of physics gone mad. Every known power tried to resist it. None succeeded. Worlds fell dark one after another. The Union fleets retreated to the core systems, waiting for the inevitable end. But humanity did not flee. Instead, they built. They gathered remnants of civilizations, fragments of knowledge, and every surviving species willing to follow. They said there was still a way, to escape the dying universe itself. The Union laughed again. They said such a thing was impossible. The humans launched their project anyway. They called it the Ark of Dawn. It was not a single ship, but a living city forged from the remains of 1,000 worlds. It was powered not by stars, but by the will to survive. As the void reached the galactic center, the Ark ignited, tearing open a path beyond known reality. Those who witnessed it said it looked as if the universe itself bent to make way. The Union leaders in their final transmissions whispered that the Elders had been right all along. When the light returned, the galaxy was gone. The void had consumed everything, but somewhere beyond the reach of physics, in a realm untouched by decay, a new sun rose. Around it orbited worlds teeming with life, and among them stood the descendants of humanity. They had crossed not just space, but existence itself. They remembered the Union, the Elders, and the long-forgotten warning. They built monuments to the fallen stars and whispered to the young that the strength of humanity was not in their weapons or minds, but in their hearts, the unyielding refusal to end. 1,000 generations later, a traveler from a distant galaxy found remnants of the old void. Embedded within its last spark was a record written by the last elder before their world fell. It said, "They came from dust, they walked among flame, and when the universe itself fell apart, they built another." The traveler shared the message with the stars of his own time. Many dismissed it as myth. But a few believed, and in quiet awe they whispered, if the humans truly escaped their own universe, then the warning of the elders had not been a curse but a truth eternal. For nothing could withstand them, not because they sought power, but because they refused to surrender. And so the legend endured, carried in you,